Alright, so the first step in making this apple crumble cheesecake will be to prepare the filling, because you just want that to be cooled off and set to the side. While we make the batter, this is what's going to be dolloped into the batter, so you don't want this piping hot. So we're going to start by peeling apples. We're going to peel them, put the peels to the side, and we're going to slice them like we would make them when we were doing an apple pie, into wedges. Into wedges, exactly. So that's what we're going to do. And honestly, any type of apple. No stress on which apple is the best. Whatever apple you like is the best. All apples will cook perfectly fine. And I peel the skin. We don't want no skin in there, because skin is not very enjoyable to eat and pick out of your teeth. So
not for this recipe.
No. We're going to be peeling off the skin. Pretty simple. This is a very, very easy prep, because everything else truly comes together very, very quickly for this cake. And it's perfect for fall season, harvest, apple picking time. This is exactly what I crave, but I think everybody has to crave what I crave. But I think there's not many people that don't like a cheesecake. I love a good cheesecake. So making sure that you're really pouring out and cutting out that center. You don't want any, and run your finger over it. You don't want any of those hard bits to bite down on. You don't want no guests, or yourself if you're eating this all by yourself. You don't want nobody to bite down on those. So you really want to make sure they get all of those hard parts out. Run your finger over it, nice and smooth, and then basically into your apple slice pieces, and that's it.
You don't want thick ones. You
No.
want thin ones.
You don't want them to. You want to try and keep them as uniform as possible, but don't go too crazy on. They have to all be the same size. I mean, homemade is homemade, and they will soften in the pan with the brown sugar and the butter, and they will also soften during the baking process, because the cheesecake takes a good hour or so to bake. So exactly, so you can do as I'm doing and just slice it like this, or you can do like my mom is, and she's just in the hand. You can see how many potatoes we've peeled in our days, you know?
This is how we were taught.
How we peel everything by hand.
Nothing was fancy.
Exactly. So that's it. Already with 2 large apples, it's pretty filling, so I think around 3 will stop. But like I said, I'll put all the directions and measurements. I'd rather have a little bit more than not, because they will sweat down and shrink a little bit in the pan. So I'm gonna take another closer look, a little bit more on this, and then we'll go over to stovetop to finish the filling to set aside before making the pie.
So I'll do one more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so over to stovetop. We've prepped, washed, peeled our apples, squeezed them with a little bit of lemon juice just so that they don't brown, but honestly we're going straight away to stovetop. So over medium heat, we've warmed up a pretty deep pan, because we don't want the apples to overflow. You want this to be a comfortable, quick prep over stovetop. We're going to be adding about, I would say 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter. Again, eyeballing it, but all measurements always found in the video description. We're going to be adding in our apples, about a cup's worth of brown sugar. This will help get them nice and caramelized. We'll toss that together. And I always like to add a little bit extra splash of flavor. We're going to be using vanilla extract, but use your imagination if you want to use any different type of essences or extracts, or maybe even alcohol, because this will slowly cook, so the alcohol will also cook off. I'm always thinking liqueur, but I find it gives really nice aroma, especially that the alcohol will cook off, so you're just left with that caramelized candy type of flavor. So without further ado, it's pretty simple. We're just basically gonna add this, come a bit closer.
Will do.
This will melt off. And as soon as it's all melted, we're going to go ahead and add our apples. Add the apples. Toss it around a bit just to get them coated in the butter. I'm going to go in with our cup of brown sugar. And our teaspoon of vanilla extract. So gently give it a toss because again, you're working over stovetop and sugar does caramelize, so you don't want to burn yourself. You don't want anything to splash on you. This is going to be low setting for about 5 to 10 minutes or so. You don't want these to cook and get too mushy. You still want them to keep a bit of a crisp because they will continue to cook in the oven with the cheesecake. And a good cheesecake takes always a good hour or so. So you just want basically the sauce to thicken a bit. And we'll show you at the step of where the sauce ends up thickening a little bit more, and then we'll be just putting this off to the side to cool, and then we will be preparing our cake batter and then reintroducing them both into our springform pan and baking off in the oven. So this is going to be a very simple, easy fall dessert that you will wow your guests with, and we will be topping with a delicious crumble over top and a caramel drizzle gumbo. See you guys at the next step. So I find that the sauce was taking a little bit too long to thicken, and I don't want to lose a bit of that crisp because, as mentioned, it's going to continue to bake in the cake. So what we can do just to thicken the sauce and stop it from continuing to thicken over stovetop is just add about a tablespoon's worth of cornstarch. That'll thicken the sauce, and then I'll be able to right away put it off to the side. So I'm going to come in on a bit of a closer look. Just sprinkle some over. And then you'll just mix it around, and your last minute or so, this will help thicken the sauce, and you won't have to render it thick without losing too much of the bite of the apple. So that's it, about a minute or so, and you'll already see that it starts to thicken. You can put it off to the side to let cool, and you'll see that once it's fully cooled, it will become a lot more thick. And that is a little tip just to keep, again, if you like it that way, a little bit more of your bite of apple. Here, come a bit closer, you'll see right away what I mean. It's already thickening up. See that? So it's thickening up as we speak. So this is perfect. I still have a bit of my bite of apple. This is becoming a nice, look at that, caramel sauce. Perfect to set to the side and cool. We're going to take our graham cookies here. We are going to crush them finely. We're going to be adding them with a little bit of cooled melted butter, and that is going to be combining to the texture of wet sand.
That's right.
And that's going to be
the base of the cheesecake.
Exactly. So we're going to be basically pressing that all around our springform pan, which
has been
my
greased
mother
right.
Exactly. So you've seen us do it often, but what did my mother do? What'd you do?
I just greased it with a little bit of butter, or you could use a little bit of shortening, and then line the bottom with parchment paper, cut it to the side, and all along also.
Exactly.
All around.
That's just, we're giving it double layer protection. We really want this to properly cool and release well. we are doing a deeper dish cheesecake. So we're using 3 blocks of cream cheese. This is a simple recipe because it's a 1-1-1-1. Again, all the ingredients, measurements, and directions found in the video description. But it's basically 1 can of condensed milk, goes with 1 block of cream cheese, goes with 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and it goes with 1 tablespoon of lemon. So that is your 1 cheesecake. We're tripling this, so we're doing 3. So we have 3 cans of condensed milk, 3 blocks of softened cream cheese, 3 teaspoons of vanilla, and 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. This is going to make a delicious cheesecake. We're going to be adding this all in the bowl, and my mother, with her arm power, will be maneuvering as I film. Hang in there, this is a big cake. Alright, so what's going to bring this cake to the next level is a nice crumble over top. Now the crumble needs to be prepared and put on top of the cake before it goes into the oven because it's going to bake off. So we're just doing a basic simple flour, some brown sugar, and some melted butter. We're going to just be combining, eyeballing it, but again, we'll try to write down exactly how much we use. But really get used to a little bit more of a touch and feel when it comes to things like this. When it comes to also the texture of the crust and a crumble, you're really getting in there with your hands. So remove your rings, wash your hands, and get in there. Alright, so it is assembly time. What we will be doing is starting by putting some of our batter into our pre-lined and already crumb crusted springform pan here. Afterwards, come a little closer here. You see how deliciously set this is. So this is apples in this thick pudding-like caramel sauce. This will be dolloped inside. So come a little closer and let's get this assembled. Make sure your hands are washed, and we're going to be adding the crumble on top, which I forgot to mention, but we also added a dash of cinnamon because obviously it's an apple crumble pie cake, apple crumble cake, so nothing says apple without adding a dash of cinnamon. And then usually the reserved graham cracker I dust over top after, but I think I'm gonna add a little bit before the baking. Yeah, I think my mom had a good idea. Let's come closer and let's add some together.
There we go.
This will just brighten up the color too.
Yeah, it's gonna give it more of a golden color.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all good stuff. Don't waste anything.
Perfect flavor. Sprinkle it as you wish. I'm just trying to be decorative here. Get a little bit of that edge. We are basically looking for the center not to jiggle. At that point is when it is done. You will be giving it the time it needs to properly cool. Set in the fridge for a minimum of 4 to 6 hours.
4 to 6.
Good, 4 to 6 hours.
Minimum.
Before you're even releasing. That's why we ended up doing the double parchment, because we really want to make sure that this sets well and releases well. So that's our little baking tip, is the extra tip of protection and the patience on letting this properly set. So in the oven it goes. Alright, so what we had to end up doing so that the top doesn't get too brown is we ended up taking some aluminum foil and covering it so that the cake can continue to bake. So we just took 2 pieces of foil and we covered it just to protect the top from getting too dark because the middle was still a little jiggly. But just to show you that it has started to sink because we took it out of the oven, but see, it still has a bit of a jiggle, but it is a set jiggle and it will continue to firm up as it cools. My mother and I decided, because we film so much in a day, we don't want to rush this. We want to have the nice cut through and slice through, and I don't have 4 to 6 hours to stay here. It's going to be like well into time for bed. So I'm going to let this chill for about 10 to 15 minutes, countertop, room temperature. And then I will be placing this in the fridge. It's gonna come home with me overnight, and then tomorrow you will see me slice into it and give you that whole look of what it looks like in the center, because we cannot do a beautiful cake like this without showing you a slice of this cake. And I will slice into it and show you how beautiful it looks like tomorrow, but you guys just have to wait a few seconds. So isn't that the joy of editing? Sorry, Ma, I'll mail you a slice.
No, it's okay. I'm coming and visit you tomorrow.
Okay. So see you guys tomorrow.
Ciao.
It is the next day and we are ready to decorate this delicious cake that has been chilling in the fridge overnight. The crumble looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. And what happens is when you are baking this, when we did the crumble on top, it was the brown sugar with the butter, etc. That ends up caramelizing in the oven as it bakes, and it bakes off into these toffee bits. So this smells extra caramelly, and we will be obviously making this more decadent and adding more caramel drizzle on top with some pecans and walnuts. And don't forget, inside there are those dollops, little hints of apple that has also been caramelized in some brown sugar and butter. So this will be a decadent apple crumble caramel cheesecake that my mouth is watering. I'm so excited to try this, and I will for sure be saving a piece for my mom, my dad, for them to try. But let's get this unraveled and decorated and show you just how gorgeous this looks. Okay, doesn't this look absolutely delicious? I'm going to let the caramel set a little bit in the fridge just so that the walnuts and the pecans will set a little bit, and then we're going to slice into it in the fridge for, I would say, about a half hour or so, just for a quick set. So it's time to slice the cake, and I took out my beautiful, very vintage, very old cake slicers, and this is actually my grandmother's, so I'm super happy to have them. How many cakes and desserts these have sliced and served. Grazie mamanon. I'm gonna put them to good use. This is like I'm drooling, and now we're gonna give it a taste because I cut myself a slice. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite here. That is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I have some apple bits in here. Look at that. Oh my god, can't wait. It smells so good. It's exactly what it smells like, is what it tastes like. It is heaven in a bite. The cream cheese is set perfectly. It is light, it is not dense, but it is held together so well. Separated with that thin layer of caramelized apples, which still has a tender bite to it. So good. So good. You get the crunchy caramelized toffee bits on top from that apple crumble. A little bit of that cinnamon comes through. The caramel sauce, vanilla bean is to die for. You have the flavor, aromas really balancing out. This is honestly a win. I hope you guys give it a try. There are so many different spins you could do on a cheesecake, and we'll continuously put out a few different flavors, but we really hope you guys give this one a try. This is our fall version of it, and that's it. I'm going to dig in and eat the rest of this. I'm gonna have a hard time saving some for my family, but yes, everybody will get a slice, and very easy to make. So you don't have to go get a Rockaberries. You can be the Rockaberries. You be the Rockaberries by following Love What You Eat. Thank you very much for tuning in. New episodes uploaded weekly, and if you haven't yet, check out our recipe blog at www.lovewhatyoueat.net. Thank you so much. I'm going to continue this, and as always, continue to love what you eat. Bye for now. Having another bite. Oh my god, so good.